Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm Matt. He's JC with Empire Algorithmic Trading, and this is Vwapvision's Stock Talk.
It's where we use the volume weighted average price to try and make sense of the market, especially this market. It's kind of wild. So, what do you think, Matt? Should we just get to it?
Yeah, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some Stock Talk coming at your eardrums.
All right, very good. All right, Matt, it's time to talk some stock. I got to think about that. If
You
you
got
look
it
at
today.
yesterday's intro, I'm like, all right, guys, it's time to, and I pause for a second because I'm like, it's not stock some talk, it's talk some stock. So it's just it's built into my brain a little wired, a little
I
weird.
get it.
All right. Well, let's just take a look. We got some signs of life. So as we were talking about yesterday, even though the indexes were down, we saw a lot of buying going on across the board underneath the surface, right? And some leading stocks, especially ones that have been selling off quite hard. Not sure if it's just short covering or if it's a start of a potential bottom. Well, we're starting to see that kind of play out in the broader indexes, right? The S&P 500 managed an update today. Same thing with the Nasdaq composite. Same thing with the small caps. So we're starting to see some buying coming in. It's nothing exciting, as you can see. The volume, if you look at the bottom of the chart there, on all three indexes was significantly smaller than the other day. And of course, mid caps just reversed completely. And so not a very good volume action. But what I am excited about is the fact that we're seeing a ton of stocks, and I mean a ton of stocks, and we're going to go over them in arrow review that are right at some long-term VWAPs, and they're showing some bottoming patterns. Now, again, almost across the board to a T, it's all occurring on lower volume. If there was more volume on a lot more of these stocks, I'd be a little bit more excited. So it could just be a technical bounce. It could just be some short covering. It might not be the start of a new trend. However, it could just be some consolidation going on as well. Long story short, we just had an update today, so it's a good sign. But as always, we just want to wait for the buyers to come in, prove an uptrend, and then we'll start getting really excited. The
Well,
other
and
thing I want to show you, I'm sorry,
I
what
was
was
gonna
that, Matt?
even with these, seeing a little sideways movement instead of continued downward trend is inspiring, especially at that support level that we were kind of talking about yesterday. Seeing it go sideways, it's not significantly up, but that type of movement, even if it has to shake out for a few days before it starts hopefully heading upwards, uh, it's encouraging.
It is. It's sort of building a base, right? That's kind of the long-term goal. It provides a little bit of support. You're getting the sellers wrung out. The buyers are coming in. It just allows us all to build a little bit of confidence for when the move higher. We know we've got a good base to build off of. Until then, we're just hoping for that. But right now, like you said, it's a good start. It's nice to see a little sideways action. We got 3 days of kind of relatively chill action in the S&P 500. The other thing I want to bring up, and for those of us on YouTube and Patreon, you're going to see it on the chart. But for our Spotify listeners, we'll just kind of read it out. So the S&P is currently at around 55.99. It's hitting a VWAP that dates all the way back to when the S&P hit a new all-time high way back in December of 23. It's
Wow.
significant because it's found support a couple of times at this VWAP. It found support down at the 5,000 level back in April of 24, and then once again at the 5,300 level in August of 24. So it's good to see we're starting to see a little bit of buying coming in at a spot where the market has found support before. Now, there's some precedent to this. So let me just move this over just a little bit here.
Was gonna say at all of those support levels too. It looks like there was pretty good volume entering the market when the market hit that support level too. So that's a big encouraging sign with that too.
Well, not, that's kind of typical. You're going to see the volume. That's because that's why the stocks are selling off hard. What you want to see is you want to see the increasing volume on the upside, on the recovery. The reason why I bring that up is because you're going to kind of see that play out in the chart. So this is the S&P 500. I've got the circle here on the chart. It's when it's about, oh, let me change my, it's when the S&P was at 3,400. It was just hitting a new high, just like we were just recently. And then it sells off a little bit, and then it just rallies up from there. You fast forward about a year and a half, the S&P is selling off. It's down about 13%, and it just happens to find a bottom at that VWAP from that breakout. So we're kind of in a similar point. But as to your point earlier, Matt, there's some pretty wicked volume going down to the VWAP, and then it's
Hmm.
just a lot of lackluster volume on the way back up. It
Hmm.
does run into the market ultimately ran into some resistance at the upper VWAP, which is about right here at the 4,500 level, whereas the market bottomed out at the 4,200 level. And then it continued to sell off for the rest of the year pretty much until about October. So there is some precedent for the market finding some support here. I wouldn't be surprised to see history repeat itself and see the market rally up to the VWAP, which we're just going to fast forward, which is currently at about 5,900. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw that within the next week and a half or so. But the important part is, are we going to see that declining volume like we did back in 2022? Or is there going to be some real institutional buying coming in, pushing that volume higher? That's going to be a tough ask because, as you said, there's some wicked volume on this way down. That's going to be a lot to overcome. So it's not going to surprise me at all if we start seeing some up days on some weaker volume. That really will not raise the confidence level. If we see some consistent higher volume buying and higher highs, then likelihood of it pushing above the volume weighted average price that we're looking for, and then we might be on to another potential move. But we could be weeks away from there. I mean, we're already 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks into this. There's been some significant damage, and so it's going to take a couple of weeks for this all to play out. But it's just nice to see this is where we're at. And instead of seeing it completely sell off, if these levels hold, then we might have a chance of just getting away with a minor correction. Of course, it's the uncertainty, right? And so, if we were in a little bit normal times, it might be a little bit more predictable. But right now, it really isn't normal, and so it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen because there's just too much. There's just too much. There's too many question marks about what we have going on right now. So it's a good reason why the market is selling off. And that's a good reason why we're sitting in cash, just waiting for the time to be right.
Exactly right. Yeah, if you're wondering what to do with everything that you've got sitting in your account, add to it. Add to it and set yourself up with more money once this green zone hits and we can start actually taking our buys.
Yeah, exactly. So now's the time to cash is king. Now's the time to pile it up. Just sit back, relax, be patient. Don't get nervous or don't get too excited and jump on the first sign of life. Let the market sort itself out. Let a clear trend establish so the odds are in our favor, and the rest will be ended, and then we'll be gravy.
And be careful what you listen to when it comes to stock advice. We've been watching all of the major news stations that are out there. You're going to get whiplash from day to day because one day it's the greatest, sunniest, best outlook you could possibly see. One little thing happens, and the next day the world's on fire. We're going to hell in a handbasket, and you might as well get out of everything and just stick your head in the sand. So markets correct, markets change all the time. There's always going to be ups and downs. Don't scare yourself. Don't get there and worry that, we're lighting everything on fire. It will turn around eventually and you'll be ready to go when it does.
That's right. I did see something the other day. It was pretty funny. It showed every time CNBC had a market in crisis special, and then the 1 year return of the S&P 500, it was positive every time. So to your point, Matt, just let the price and the volume be your guide.
Yeah.
We're seeing some action, which is good. But we're not in a position yet that we want to take any risk in it. So we're still in a wait and see mode. It's just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So as
Yeah.
always, Matt, happy trading, and we will talk to you during Arrow Review.
Sounds great. And for all of you that are tuning in, wherever you consume this media, whether that's YouTube, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on our Patreon, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons. Tell your friends and family about it. And wherever you like to consume this media, we are on all social media as well. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky. And for more information about who we are and what we like to do, visit our website, VWAPvision.com. And for insider tips, everything that we like to see when it comes to our algorithmic buy and sell signals, make sure you're subscribing over on Patreon, patreon.com/ Empire Algorithmic Trading. And that all being said, have an excellent day and happy trading, everybody.
Happy trading. All right. Talk to you later, Matt.
See you, Jace.